Have you ever wondered what happens when the sun sets and the world falls silent? What if I told you there's a carnival that only appears in the dead of night, hidden from the eyes of the living? Welcome to the creepy carnival, a place where the line between the living and the dead blurs. It's a place you've probably heard rumors about, an ancient fairground that rises from the mist just when the moonlight hits. No one knows how it gets there or who runs it, but there's one thing everyone who's dared to enter agrees on. The performers are not human. At first glance, you might think it's just another ordinary carnival. The lights, the sounds, the smells of popcorn and cotton candy. But there's something off. The clowns don't smile, they stare. The music is unsettling, as if it's playing backwards. The rides, they move on their own. And the people who come to visit, well, they never quite leave the same way. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers of the ghostly performers, the acrobats, the fortune teller, the ringmaster. Each one bound to the carnival for eternity, lost souls trapped in a twisted loop of time. But don't be fooled by their charm. Those who venture too far into the carnival's heart often disappear forever. So, tonight, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the creepy carnival. Stick with me until the end, because once you step into this world, there's no turning back. Imagine it's a late autumn night, the kind where the air is cool and the trees sway in the breeze. Most people are indoors, settled in for the night, but somewhere, far off in the distance, something strange is happening. The ground trembles slightly, and then, slowly, a flicker of light emerges from the fog. A glowing, colorful light, like a beacon in the dark. It's the creepy carnival. But here's the thing. It doesn't exist, at least. Not in the way we think of carnivals. It's not on any map. It doesn't appear in the daylight, and it doesn't welcome the living. This carnival comes to life only after nightfall, when most of the world is asleep. Its tents pop up like mushrooms in the night, and with it, a series of ghostly performers who run the attractions, waiting to lure you in. Legend has it that the carnival's origins are as old as the town itself. Many believe it was built on cursed land, a forgotten place where long ago, a terrible tragedy took place. Some say a fire, others whisper of a mass disappearance. No one knows for sure. But what's known is that the carnival is tied to the souls of the lost, forever bound to it, forced to perform for eternity. Every night, as the clock strikes midnight, the carnival springs to life. The lights flicker on in a burst of neon colors. The air fills with the unsettling sounds of a carnival melody, that tune you've heard 100 times, but always slightly off, as if it's trying to hypnotize you into staying. At first, everything seems normal. You might see the usual carnival attractions, the Ferris wheel that creaks in the wind, the bumper cars that seem to drive themselves, the mirror maze that makes you feel like you're never alone. But the performers? Well, that's when things get strange. Take the clowns, for example. They don't act like the jokers we're used to seeing in parades. They're silent, their painted smiles frozen in place, eyes following you wherever you go. They don't make jokes. They don't laugh. But they always seem to know when you're watching them. And the acrobats? They twist and bend in ways that don't seem possible, flying through the air with ease, as if gravity doesn't even touch them. Some say they've seen these performers in the shadows, doing the same flips and stunts for years, always trapped in that loop, never aging, never stopping. It's as if their souls are stuck in the carnival's time warp, forced to endlessly repeat the same performance. Then there's the fortune teller. Some say she's the most dangerous of them all. Sitting in a booth, surrounded by smoke and crystals, her pale, ghostly face peering out from the shadows. She knows things. She knows things about you. Your deepest secrets, your fears, things no one could possibly know. But when you sit in front of her, you can't help but feel a pull, a need to ask her questions, to learn what lies ahead. They say if you're unlucky enough to be chosen by her, you'll get a glimpse of your own future. But it always comes with a price. The cost of a single answer could cost you your soul, or worse, a permanent spot in the carnival, becoming one of its lost souls. And what happens if you get too close? If you really start to look into the heart of the carnival, there are whispers, faint, almost inaudible, that if you venture beyond the attractions, past the main tents, into the forgotten corners of the grounds, you'll see things that can never be unseen. The performers aren't the only ones waiting for you. Some say the real carnival starts once you get beyond the neon lights and the sounds of laughter. There's a dark, hidden area where the ground is cold and the air grows still. There, under the rusting remains of an old carousel, they say you can find the ringmaster. But the ringmaster is no ordinary man. His face is hidden under a top hat, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark, with an aura of something ancient and otherworldly. He's the one who guides the carnival, and some say he's the one who decides who gets to leave, and who becomes a permanent resident. There are accounts from those who've wandered too far into the carnival's maze of tents. They tell of hearing whispers in the wind, the ground vibrating beneath their feet as if the carnival itself is alive, watching them, tracking their every movement. Some claim to have seen otherworldly creatures, strange shadow figures that lurk in the dark, always just out of sight. They say you can never truly escape once you've been marked. The carnival doesn't just want to entertain you, it wants to keep you. So, what happens when the creepy carnival calls to you from the darkness? It's not just a carnival. It's a prison for lost souls, a world where the dead perform for eternity, their haunting melodies and ghostly eyes watching your every move. Once you've set foot in this eerie realm, there's no telling if you'll make it out the same. The carnival is alive, with its own mind and its own desires. It waits for those brave enough, or foolish enough, to wander too close, to peek behind its glowing facade. But remember, those who stay too long may never leave. Are you brave enough to enter the creepy carnival? Or will it claim you as one of its lost souls, trapped forever in the twisted loop of its otherworldly performances? Before you go, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever heard whispers about the creepy carnival? Have you dared to visit one yourself? Or maybe you've had strange encounters with the supernatural that left you questioning reality. Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with more mysterious and spine-tingling stories from beyond the veil. And remember, as long as you're watching, the carnival could be just around the corner, waiting for you. Stay curious, stay cautious, and above all, don't get lost in the carnival. Story number 2. Have you ever stumbled upon a door that was never meant to be opened? Imagine you live in a house that seems ordinary at first glance, but hidden within its walls, there's a secret, a forbidden realm, lurking behind a forgotten door. No one talks about it. It's a part of the house that people try to ignore, because once you discover it, there's no turning back. But what if I told you that this door leads to something unimaginable, something so dark, so mysterious, that it's been kept sealed for generations, buried beneath layers of time, dust, and fear? What's behind it? And why has it been forgotten by everyone until now? Today, we're about to explore a house that holds a secret that might change everything you thought you knew about reality itself. A door so powerful, so dangerous, that even the bravest have feared what lies behind it. Join me as we open the forgotten door. But beware, once you step through, there's no going back. This house stands at the edge of time. Its walls have seen countless seasons change, yet something remains unchanged within. It's a house, yes, but it's not just any house. This place holds something, something forgotten, something darker than anything you might imagine. At first glance, it might seem like just another abandoned structure. Time has ravaged it. Yet, there's something here that refuses to be ignored. There's a door, hidden away, forgotten by most, yet still standing. It's a door that shouldn't be here. It doesn't belong. Look closely. What do you see? Strange symbols, carved deep into the wood. Patterns that make no sense, that seem to twist and turn on their own. This isn't just any door. It's a portal, a threshold to something else. But what lies beyond it is a mystery that has remained unsolved for decades. People who've come here before have tried to decipher these markings, but no one has succeeded. There are theories, of course. Some believe it's the work of an ancient cult. Others say it's a warning to stay away. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when this house was full of life. A family once lived here, the Eldridges. A father, a mother, and their 2 children. The father, Thomas Eldridge, was a man of great ambition, a scholar with an unrelenting thirst for knowledge. He became fixated on the door, believing it held the key to something greater than anything he could imagine. Thomas spent years in isolation, researching the door. It consumed him. He believed the door led to a world beyond our own, a shadowy realm, a place that existed outside the boundaries of time and space. But the more he studied it, the more it drove him mad. His obsession only deepened. He would say that the door was a gateway, a thin veil between 2 worlds, one of light, the other of darkness. But which world would you choose? He couldn't decide. And that, perhaps, was his greatest mistake. One evening, after days of silence, the Eldridge family vanished. Just like that. No signs of struggle. No broken windows or open doors. The house was left untouched, except for one thing. The door that had once been sealed, was now wide open. Some say they left willingly, that Thomas unlocked the door himself, and his family followed him into the unknown. Others say that something came through, something evil, something that dragged them into the shadows behind the door. But the house, it remained. And the door? It stood, as if waiting for someone to open it again. And so, the door remained forgotten, but not for long. People came and went, some curious, some frightened, but none ever stayed. The ones who dared to approach it never left the same. Those who tried to open it found themselves facing something they were never prepared for. There are rumors that the door calls to those who are lost, that it feeds on fear, on confusion, on the desperate need to escape. But what happens when you cross its threshold? Some say you become part of the realm it leads to, that you're trapped forever, bound by the dark forces that lurk beyond. Others believe that those who open the door are not just lost, they're changed. The door is a doorway to a realm of shadows and whispers, and those who step through it become something else entirely. And so, we stand before it, the forgotten door, the one that no one dares to open. But you can't ignore it, can you? You feel it, don't you? The pull, the lure. Something inside you is curious to know what lies behind it, to step beyond the veil of this world and into the unknown. What happens when you step through? What happens when the door is finally opened? Some say you'll never return the same, or perhaps you'll never return at all. We've walked the halls of this haunted house, peered into the unknown, and uncovered the terrifying secrets behind the forgotten door. But one question remains. What happens when it finally opens? Can anyone truly leave once they've stepped into that realm? Or does the door claim them forever? The answers, well, they may be too horrifying to comprehend. You've seen the warnings, you've felt the pull, and now you're faced with the truth. The forgotten door is real. Its mystery is far from over. And the question is, do you dare to open it? Or will you walk away, knowing that some doors are better left closed? Thank you for joining me on this journey. But before you go, there's something I need to ask. If this story intrigued you, if it sent chills down your spine, then you're not alone. This mystery is just the beginning, and we've only scratched the surface. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because there are more secrets to uncover, more stories to explore, and more doors to open. Who knows what we'll discover next? And if you dare to face the darkness, join me again. Together, we'll open the doors that others fear to touch. Story number 3. Imagine walking into a house that feels different. The air is thick, almost electric, as if the walls themselves are watching you. But it's not just the silence that's unnerving. No, it's the whispers, barely audible at first, but the longer you stay, the clearer they become. Quiet murmurs, hushed conversations that seem to be coming from the walls themselves. No one is there, or are they? These are the whispers of the whispering walls. It's a house, unlike any other. Some say it's cursed, others believe it's haunted. But one thing is certain. The walls hold secrets, dark, chilling secrets that may never be fully understood. What if I told you that there are places where the very walls you touch have memories of their own? And not just memories, conversations, warnings, even secrets long buried by time itself. But what happens when you start to listen, and the walls start listening back? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll uncover the mysteries of this eerie house. You'll hear the stories of those who dared to stay, and you'll learn just how much the walls know. But remember, some stories should never be told. Welcome. What you're about to hear is not a story of ghosts or poltergeists, but something far more unsettling. A place where the walls themselves seem to whisper the dark secrets of the past. Welcome to the Whispering Walls, a house whose very foundation pulses with forgotten conversations. But beware, because these aren't just any whispers. These are voices of the past, but they are not at rest. It's just an old house. On the surface, it's like any other, with cracked windows, a sagging roof, and wallpaper peeling like the skin of a wound. But those who dare enter quickly learn that there is far more to this place than meets the eye. There's something watching, listening, something that lives within the walls. It's not just the creaks of the house settling. It's something more, a presence. Let's go back to when this house was first built. It was a family's dream, a grand estate in the countryside. The year was 1910. A wealthy family, well known in the community, decided to settle in this sprawling mansion. The house was meant to symbolize their prosperity, their success. But little did they know, they were also building a tomb of secrets. At first, the family was happy. The house was a symbol of their success. The walls were filled with the sounds of laughter, of children running through the hallways. The father, Richard Langford, was a businessman. His wife, Eleanor, was the epitome of grace and elegance. And their children, Olivia and Thomas, were the picture of joy. But then, things began to change. Unexplainable things. At night, It was subtle at first, a faint murmur, as though someone were having a quiet conversation in another room. The family thought it was the wind. After all, the house was old, and the wind had a way of making the old beams groan and creak. But soon, the murmurs grew louder, clearer. The servants were the first to notice it. They'd hear soft voices coming from the walls, voices that seemed to be speaking in low, hurried tones. "We must never speak of this again," they would hear, or sometimes, "Help me, please. I'm trapped." The servants grew nervous, then scared. They whispered to each other at night. No one dared talk about it openly. But then, the family heard the whispers too. It started with the children, Olivia and Thomas. The children were playful, innocent, and they'd often run around the house, pretending to talk to invisible friends. But soon, they started to talk about the voices. Olivia, in particular, was drawn to one room, the old study, where the father would often work late into the night. It was in this room that Olivia first heard the whispers clearly. They spoke to her, called her name, asked her to come closer. She said it felt warm, almost comforting, like someone was waiting for her. Her parents dismissed it as childish imagination, but Olivia swore she heard the voices even when she was alone. One evening, the whispers grew louder than ever before. That night, Olivia was found at the entrance to the study, staring at the door as if in a trance. The whispers had stopped, but they left something behind, an eerie silence that filled the house. The family dismissed it as a bad dream, but from that night forward, the whispers didn't stop. They evolved. Eleanor, the mother, became obsessed with the sounds. Every night, she would sit by the fireplace, listening, trying to decipher the voices, but each time, the words slipped away before she could fully understand them. The walls seemed to be closing in. The most chilling experience came one night when Eleanor was alone in the house. Richard had gone out to meet business partners, and the children were asleep. It was then that she heard a voice that made her blood run cold. It wasn't a whisper this time. It was a scream. "Eleanor, come back to me," the voice cried. It was her own voice, but distorted, twisted in agony. Eleanor rushed to the source of the sound, towards the locked room at the end of the hallway. The one room no one dared enter. The whispers had always been louder near it, but tonight they were deafening. She felt the weight of an unseen presence, a force pushing her away from the door. Yet, she still reached for the knob, and in that instant, the whispering stopped. Months passed, and the house's power seemed to grow stronger. Richard Langford, the father, became consumed by paranoia. He started hearing the whispers too. He would spend hours pacing the house, trying to find the source. But the more he searched, the more confused he became. It was like the house itself was alive. The walls had become sentient. One night, during a particularly stormy evening, Richard snapped. He locked himself in the study, refusing to leave. He said the house was speaking to him, that it was warning him. Warned him of what? No one knows. Because, after that night, he was never seen again. The family tried to search for him, but there was no trace. Richard Langford had vanished. In the years that followed, the house was abandoned, but the whispers never stopped. And so, paranormal investigators began to arrive, each determined to uncover the truth of the Langford family and the secrets buried within the walls. The first investigator to enter the house reported hearing distinct phrases, many of them not in English. Ancient languages, long forgotten. Some claimed to have seen shadowy figures in the corners of the rooms. Others described strange cold spots that seemed to follow them as they moved. One investigator even claimed to have heard Richard Langford's voice, still trapped within the walls, crying for help, pleading for release. But no one has ever truly understood why this house, this structure of brick and mortar, has become such a living entity. Is it the grief, the regret, or something darker that has given it life? And so, the house stands, its walls full of whispers, each one a fragment of a story that no one may ever fully understand. But the question remains, why do the walls whisper? What is it they want? The Langford family may have left, but their secrets, in the house itself, remain. And maybe, just maybe, the house is waiting for someone to listen, before the whispers consume them too. As the walls of this eerie house continue to whisper their secrets, one thing becomes clear. Some stories are not meant to be uncovered. The Langford family may have long since vanished, but the whispers live on, waiting for the next soul brave enough to listen, or perhaps foolish enough to stay. What do you think? Could there be more to these whispers than just the haunting of a forgotten family? Or is there something darker lurking beneath the surface, something older than time itself? The mystery of the whispering walls may never be solved, but the more we search, the closer we come to the truth, or to the edge of something far more terrifying. If you've made it this far, you're clearly as intrigued by this chilling story as I am. But don't stop here. The secrets of the whispering walls are far from over. If you want to hear more stories like this, delve deeper into the unknown, and uncover the mysteries that hide in plain sight, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. What do you think is behind those whispers? Do you believe the house is cursed, or is it something more sinister? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your theories. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss a spine-chilling story from our channel. The walls may be listening, but so should you. Until next time, stay curious and always be careful where you listen.